We bring you the news update now, and we begin from the nation's capital, where a high court of the Federal Capital Territory has issued an order restraining the national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, National Secretary Farouk Ibrahim, and 2 others from parading themselves as national officers of the party. Justice Hamza Muazu issued the restraining order while ruling in ex parte application argued by a senior advocate of Nigeria, James Onoja. Mr. Onoja had in the application informed the court how the restrained national officers allegedly forged several documents of the FCT High Court to carry out unlawful substitutions in the last general election. The senior lawyer, who tendered several documents, confirmed to the judge that the chief registrar of the court wrote the Labour Party to disown several documents used for the alleged criminal activities by Mr. Abure and 3 others. Justice Mazu subsequently ordered that the 4 people should immediately stop parading themselves as national officers of Labour Party.
Court gave an order today that the chairman of Labour Party and other executive who are mentioned as defendant there should stop parading themselves as chairman and executive of the Labour Party, on the basis that, one, they have been found wanting in terms of allegation of crime. I mean, they have been indicted by the police for forgery. Also, the chairman has been suspended by his ward, and in our constitution, in the constitution of the Labour Party, once you are suspended or expelled, you cannot be a member of the board of trustees, not to be a chairman, not to talk about being a chairman.
The 4 officers involved primarily now are 1, Julius Abure, who is the former national chairman now. We have Umar Farouk, who is also the former national secretary. We have Clement Ojukwu, who is the former national organizing secretary, and we have Okpara, who is also the former national treasurer. They were all involved in forgery, perjury, of documents, and which we consider inimical to what the party stand for. And we thank God today that at least justice has been served. The 4 of them, we from henceforth today stop parading themselves as national officer of the party. While we convene in NWC meeting and NEC, we'll now be able to forge a new face for our party.
The National Progressive Councilors Forum has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Datti Baba Ahmed, to withdraw the derogatory statements he made against the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. They also want Mr. Baba Ahmed to tender an unreserved apology to the president-elect or face legal action. Celestina Area has details.
Many electoral processes do not end at the polls but continue to the courts. This is due to many candidates being dissatisfied with the process or outcome of the elections. This judicial process is in line with the laid down laws since the inception of Nigerian democracy. But this year's election has come with its peculiarities. At the just concluded presidential election, the Independent National Electoral Commission declared Asiwaju Bola Tinubu the victor after securing the highest number of votes and meeting the required spread. Expectedly, aggrieved opposition parties and their candidates approached the tribunal to seek redress as prescribed by law. But what is worrying is while the matter is sub judice, many of the aggrieved candidates has continued to make incidentary comments and statements concerning the election and the swearing-in ceremony of 29 May 2023. Recently, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Datti Baba Ahmed, had asked the Chief Justice of Nigeria not to swear in the president-elect. These, the National Progressive Councilors say, it is an attack on their mandate. They have asked Mr. Baba Ahmed to withdraw his statement within 48 hours or face legal action. They insist the statement is targeted at undermining the country's democracy and it is a call for unrest by Mr. Baba Ahmed.
Steps is what he just did now to call him to withdraw his, because he's also a politician. An easy thing to a person to just quickly accept the defeat. It's very painful something. So he has to withdraw his his statement press.
The mandate that the president-elect have today, we are all part of it, and we want our vote to stand. So we're giving them 48 hours, or else we'll take legal actions as supporters and people that voted for the president-elect.
We have the free, fair election ever in this country. We must attest that we have a credible election, and we must stand firmly to defend our vote.
President Muhammadu Buhari has emphatically stated that the handover ceremony slated for 29th May 2023 will hold, and a transition committee is already in place working hard towards this deadline. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
The federal government has secured the sum of $800 million from the World Bank as part of measures to scale up the National Social Investment Program in preparation for the removal of fuel subsidy in June. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this to journalists at the end of this week's Federal Executive Council meeting, chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde has details.
It seems the federal government is already taking proactive measures to cushion the effect of the hardship that will follow the removal of fuel subsidy in June this year. The Minister of Finance says the 2023 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and the Appropriation Act will make provisions for the vulnerable in the society captured in the federal government's National Social Register.
We made that provision to enable us exit fuel subsidy by June 2023. We're on course. We're having different stakeholder engagements. We've secured some funding from the World Bank. That is the first tranche of palliatives that will enable us give cash transfers to the most vulnerable in our society.
The Federal Executive Council also granted approval for the National Population Census to boost its ICT infrastructure ahead of the head count scheduled for next month. Also, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission got a favorable consideration for its memo to build a new training facility.
For the contract for the development and the implementation of mobile device management solution for the personal digital assistance devices to be used for the 2023 population census. This is in the sum of about 4.4 billion naira.
The federal government is paying more attention to growing the non-oil sector and boosting its contribution to the gross domestic product. The council considered the need to send an executive bill to the National Assembly that will repeal the now obsolete Nigeria Mineral and Mining Law of 2007.
The Attorney General will be sending the bill, which is the Nigerian Minerals and Mining Act 2023. That's the proposed act. The Attorney General will be sending it to the National Assembly, which we intend to follow up.
This week's Federal Executive Council meeting also approved 65 million naira for the supply of fire crash tenders for selected airports. Also, 1 billion naira was approved for the purchase of operational vehicles for the Nigeria Ports Authority. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has sent a letter to the Chief Clerk of the Central Criminal Court Old Bailey in London to intervene on the matter concerning the former Deputy President of the Nigerian Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, and his wife, who are currently facing charges. Senator Ekweremadu was found guilty of an organ trafficking plot after they brought a 21-year-old man to the UK from Lagos. The former president in the letter wants the chief clerk to use his position and consider the good relationship between the Nigerian government and that of the United Kingdom to call on the court to temper justice with mercy, especially because of their daughter who needs medical attention. The former president said he hopes Senator Ekweremadu and his wife have learned their lessons from what has happened to them and will continue to be of good conduct to their community and country in general.